Every TPP country has responsibilities, and I'll give you some specific examples. Around the world, including in America and here in the Asia Pacific, it's still too hard for workers to form a union and protect their rights. In some countries, it's a crime. But we know from our own history that when workers are able to come together and speak with one voice, it helps to boost wages, which improves working conditions and raises living standards. And all this progress ripples out and benefits all workers. If workers have basic protections and decent wages, then they're better customers for your business. I believe every worker should have basic protections and rights. So it's in the text. In black and white, TPP countries commit to recognizing freedom of association and the right to collectively bargain, which means that, for the first time, a government like Vietnam has agreed to let its workers form independent units. And that's progress. Around the world, and here in the Asia Pacific, we still see abuses that are abhorrent and unacceptable. Where men, women, and children are sold to traffickers or tricked into forced labor. They toil, day after day, in dangerous conditions that can turn deadly. And this is not labor, this is akin to modern slavery. It has to stop. TPP helps fight. This kind of forced labor with internationally recognized labor rights prohibitions against forced labor. Against child labor, against employment discrimination, including against women. TPP requires acceptable work conditions, such as a minimum wage, fair hours of work, and workplace safety. And meanwhile, Malaysia, Vietnam and Brunei have committed to specific concrete reforms to reach these high standards. Change will not happen overnight. But with TPP, hundreds of millions of workers will now be covered by higher, enforceable labor standards. That is progress. Around the world, and here in the Asia Pacific, the cancer of corruption is a daily indignity. Having to pay a bribe just to start a business or go to school or get a job steals money from workers and families and businesses, and it is a violation of human rights, and it is a bad strategy for development. Corruption drains billions of dollars that could be used to improve the lives of citizens. Imagine the schools and hospitals and roads and bridges that could be built with that. Money investments that would make countries more competitive and more prosperous. And that's why TPP includes the strongest anti-corruption. And transparency standards of any trade agreement in history. It requires countries to have laws against corruption, including making it a crime to bribe a public official, and it requires countries to enforce those laws. So TPP encourages rule of law and stronger, more effective, and more accountable governance. That is progress. Around the world, including in the United States, and here in the Asia Pacific. Rising economic inequality holds back economies and undermines the cohesiveness of our societies and our political systems. Globally, countless millions barely survive on US dollar and 25 cents a day. That's an affront to human dignity. I've made combating economic inequality and creating more opportunity for my fellow Americans a focus of my presidency. And the world recently committed to new Sustainable Development Goals. So that we can continue to push to eradicate the injustice of extreme poverty. One of the best ways to do that is with economic growth that is broad-based and inclusive, that lifts up the many and raises living standards, and by helping developing nations sell more of their goods to the world. That's what TPP does. It's designed to help promote development that is sustainable. That improves food security and that reduces poverty. And that is progress. And around the world, as well as here in the Asia Pacific. Economic progress has too often come at the expense of the environment. For too long, the myth persisted that we had to choose between the two. But facts don't lie. In the United States, we have cleaner air and cleaner water compared to decades ago, even as our economy has grown several times over. The international community took steps to repair the ozone layer even as global growth lifted millions of people from poverty into the middle class. We have proven that we can grow our economies and protect our planet. And that's why TPP includes the strongest environmental standards in history. Specific provisions to combat wildlife trafficking, illegal logging that worsens deforestation. Illegal fishing that endangers our oceans and our fisheries. That is progress. The reforms and changes I've described won't happen overnight. TPP has to be adopted, it has to be implemented. Countries and companies will be adapting to these new standards and these new reforms. And it's going to take time. We're ready to partner with all of them and help them as they up their game. And this brings me to another way that TPP is different and better than many past agreements. The standards we've described that I've described are actually enforceable. TPP has teeth, strong provisions for monitoring. And we're going to be vigilant to make sure countries fulfill their commitments. If they don't, we will take action. If a TPP country violates their responsibilities, there are consequences and real penalties. For the sake of our workers and their families and the hopes they have for the future. We've got to make sure that we're delivering on the promises that we're making today. So the bottom line is that, as significant as it is, the Trans-Pacific Partnership represents more than just the additional goods we'll trade. Or even the new economic partnerships that we'll forge and the jobs it will support. TPP sends a powerful message across this region, across the Asia-Pacific. It says that America's foreign policy rebalance to the Asia-Pacific will continue on every front. It says that the United States will keep its commitments to allies and partners. And that we are here to stay and that you can count on us. And TPP says, most of all, that Americans and people across this region stand together for a shared vision. Of a future that is more peaceful and more secure and that upholds the universal rights of every human being. This is about the father, the mother, the children. crammed onto factory floors who deserve their dignity and humane working conditions. It's about the farmers who want to sell more of their crops and boost their incomes. It's about the workers on the assembly line who are ready to build more cars because new markets await. And it's about companies like yours, but also the small business owner who's ready to export more products and hire more workers. And the entrepreneur who believes that her new idea could be the spark that ignites a new industry or changes the world. That's the progress, the opportunity, the growth, the innovations that we can unleash. That's why I'm so optimistic about our shared future. That's why I'm grateful for our work together. That's why the nations and people of this region will always have a friend and partner in the United States of America. Thank you very much, everybody. Barack Obama. You. SAC on press conference. Delivered February 16, 2016, Rancho Mirage, California. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me begin by thanking the Annenberg Foundation Trust, and everyone here at Beauty Beautiful. Sunnylands and the people of Rancho Mirage for their incredible hospitality these past 2 days. I have hosted foreign leaders here before. It's quite another to host leaders from 10 nations at the same time. And I want to thank everybody who helped make the summit such a success. For 50 years, leaders and people across Southeast Asia have worked together. Through ASEAN to advance their mutual security, prosperity, and dignity. For decades, the United States has been a proud partner with ASEAN. And this summit has built on the unprecedented cooperation. We've forged over the past 7 years, as I described yesterday. This spirit working together on behalf of mutual interests. In mutual respect guided our work over the past 2 days. And so I especially want to thank my fellow leaders from the ASEAN countries for being here. For their commitment and for the progress that we've made together. One of my main messages over the past 2 days has been the commitment of the United States to ASEAN and its people. That commitment is and will remain strong and enduring. With our strategic partnership, we have a framework to guide our ties for decades to come. Here at Sunnylands, we agreed to a number of key principles, including the principle that ASEAN will continue to be central in fact. Indispensable to peace, prosperity, and progress in the Asia-Pacific. When ASEAN speaks with a clear, unified voice, it can help advance security. Opportunity and human dignity not only for the more than 600 million people across ASEAN, but for people across the Asia-Pacific and around the world. And I'm pleased that, here at this summit, ASEAN's strong voice allowed us to make progress on multiple fronts.